how Donaghue is. Like the other team. I
Show me your wrist. No watches.
Oh my god,
Very good. All right. National anthem.
There we go. Audio's fixed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize. We've been here the entire time, but it seems that the audio input on the computer got switched, and there was no audio going through for like the first 10 minutes of this. But we've been here the entire time. Hi, everybody. Sam Gelfand and Claire Huyck here for JD Athletics, as we are about to start the second event of today's paper meet against Syracuse City, the 200-yard freestyle. We had such a good open, and it didn't even capture it.
Yes, very unfortunate. But luckily we are here now.
And the good news is we can just repeat whatever we said because it's not like you heard it.
Absolutely.
So in the 200-yard freestyle, we're going to have 6 JD swimmers. Matt Radford in lane 1, Lucian Zenz in lane 2, Nate Wales in lane 3, lane 4 is Luke Marino, lane 5 is Matt Trivelpiece, and lane 6 is Kyler Huyck.
Now, you will notice that these are all JD swimmers. That is because today's meet is a paper meet. Syracuse City is swimming separately at their own home pool, and we will have all JD swimmers at our meet today.
It's going to be an interesting environment for sure, as people are now asking in the commentary where I am. I'm right here. Can you hear me now? I hope you can. But yeah, paper meet, it's as I used in the open you didn't get to hear. Think of it, if you've never seen one of these, it's kind of like watching football, but you only see the offense. The defense is there, you just can't see them and you don't know how well they're doing, but they are competing against the offense. So we won't know the score today, as Syracuse City is currently swimming at their home pool in Nottingham. But we will know how the JD swimmers are doing. We have all sorts of times and standards here, and the question becomes, can they beat the clock?
Unfortunately with swimming, the race is a big part of the event. It is much more difficult to swim fast if you do not have someone next to you that you can try to pace with. So it will be interesting to see how that impacts our swimmers today.
But you have to imagine that some people do better without the increased pressure as well.
Yes, absolutely. It depends on the person.
Now we look at the final score of the last meeting between JD CBA and Syracuse City. JD CBA took it 93-85. But there's been a lot of improvements, a lot of changeover between the two teams ever since then, and really this could be anyone's meet, especially when you consider someone like Bilal Hamad for Syracuse City, who is currently ranked number 33 in New York State.
That is incredible.
Absolutely incredible. Of course, JD-CBA has no dearth of competent swimmers either. There's an SAT word for you. As it seems the timers are being adjusted currently. We can take a look at the qualifying times for the 200-yard freestyle. 2:08.99 for the Section 3 Class A meet, 1:47.60 for the New York State meet, and 1:38.40 to be an All-American, which, even though it's not something many people achieve, it's something that everyone shoots for, because it's important to aim for the stars like that, isn't it?
Yes, big goals are always a good thing.
And of course, JD-CBA has to have their eyes on the biggest prize of them all right now, hoping to place first in Section 3 Class A, if not at least the Salt City Athletic Conference.
Now, another big thing with swimming is getting those sectional times. We are trying to get as many swimmers on that bus as possible. Unfortunately, there is, of course, no sectionals meet this year, but it is still awesome to have as many swimmers make those times as possible.
We already have 2 in the 200-yard freestyle. Nate Wales and Luke Marino have both already qualified.
Both of them are swimming this today.
So we're going to have to see if they can improve those times at all, as it looks like we're about to get ready underway with the 200-yard freestyle. Thank you so very much for joining us, and our mic was off, so you missed a shout-out, but Lucas DeCaney is here as well. In the comments section, St. Bonaventure University diver and JD alumni, great to see you. Thanks for showing up. As the JD-CBA Red Rams have certainly showed up in the freestyle already. They're off on a breakneck pace.
Yes, Nate's mindset is absolutely incredible. He is able to focus and win any race that is put ahead of him.
Now, he's normally more of a distance swimmer, which is interesting to see him in the 200-yard free, but it's still something he thrives off of, has the best time out of any of the 6 swimmers today. As we're past the 35-second mark, Wales's best time is a 1:55.43. Now, I talked to Coach Bewley before this meet started, and he said because of the lack of pressure and the 3 extra lanes, he's planning on putting some people into events today that they normally wouldn't be swimming.
That is always very interesting to watch. It's really interesting to see how swimmers react to swimming off events.
So this is the first time that Matt Radford, Matt Trivelpiece, or Kyler Huyck will be swimming the 200-yard freestyle. They don't have an established time yet. Any relation?
Yes, actually, that is my brother.
I wanted to double check because,
Yes.
you've heard stranger things.
Absolutely.
And as expected, Nate Wales well out in front, although Luke Marino is giving him a run for his money, but he's still a turn behind. There we see Wales again. Past the 140
It'll be
mark.
interesting to see if Lucien and Kyler will be able to stick with it and get these sectional times today.
So we're at 150. Wales has 5 seconds to beat his own time. Is it possible? He might be just a little bit behind that pace. Indeed, he's going to be a couple seconds behind, but hey, he's still already qualified.
Right, and to be at this speed at this point in the season is a very good point.
He finishes with a 1:57.18, which is about 2 seconds off his best time, but still well within sectional qualifications. Second place goes to Luke Marino with a 2:02.54. Oh, he is off by his best time by 0.01 seconds.
Oh, that is awesome.
That is not awesome. That is terrible. So close yet so far. Third place is going to be Lane 6, Kyler Huyck, with a 2:14.75.
It does show that his training has been very good, that he's able to maintain those best times throughout the season. It's important to watch how people's times fluctuate so that we can see how they end up doing by the end of the season.
In fourth place is lane number 2, Lucian Zenz, with a 2:17.86, beating his previous best time, which is a 2:21.82. Fifth place is with a 2:23.51 is Matt Trivelpiece, and sixth place is Matt Radford with a 2:24.61. Now, I've got an interesting question for you, Claire. Would you happen to know which JD CBA swimmer once ate 23 chicken tenders before a meet?
I actually do know. I was at the meet with the swimmer afterwards.
Let's give it a moment to build up the anticipation
All right.
before we reveal it. I can't believe that this is possible, though. Like, aren't you supposed to wait 30 minutes after eating before getting into the pool?
It is a very impressive feat, and we were all quite shocked when he did this.
The swimmer, by the way, would happen to be today's swimmer on the Rampage, Bobby Deal.
Yes.
Why?
Because Tully's tenders are delicious. You should absolutely try some as soon as you get the chance.
I will as soon as they start paying me. So we're up for the 200-yard individual medley now. 2:31.99, the Section 3 qualifier. 2 minutes 63 to qualify for the New York State meet. 1:49.57 for the All-American. Once again, 6 swimmers here for the individual medley, and only 2 of them have previously swum, and both of them already qualified, actually, for the sectional meet. So in lane 1 will be George Theobald, lane 2, Luke Henderson, lane 3, Bobby Deal, lane 4, Jamie Turo, lane 5, Braden McVicker, and lane 6, Tim Sheftick. Both Deal and Turo have already qualified at the 2:16.65 and a 2:25.11 respectively. And here they go in an attempt to better that time even further. You know, we don't know how Syracuse City is doing, but you have to imagine with 2 sectional marks in the 200-yard freestyle, things are looking not too bad.
Yes, we are absolutely in a good spot. It is always impressive to watch Bobby Deal pull ahead in his fly. He has an incredible fly stroke, and that always gets him a great lead in the 100 IM, or in the 200 IM.
Now, last year against Syracuse City, Bobby Deal had a 2:17.2 and actually came in second place behind Nate Wales.
I know Nate and Bobby have had some great competition in the past, and they do a great job pacing each other and pushing each other to swim faster. So we'll have to see how Bobby can do without that competition today.
I think we started a family feud in the comments as Amy Deal says that is disgusting, Bobby Deal. What have we done?
Oh, I know.
Well, we brought the truth to people. That's what we did.
Yes,
As we now pass the minute, we passed the minute mark in the 200 individual medley. And lane 3, that's Bobby Deal. He's already making his turn. He's already on to breaststroke. Now, I wanted to ask earlier with your brother Kyler
Yes.
having his first place in the, or his first finish in the 200-yard free. Are you faster than him in any events?
I am at the moment, but we'll see if that continues. We're both backstrokers, so
Do you make fun of him for that?
I do. But, you know, I got to be careful because one of these days he's going to get faster than me, and then...
Well, one of these days may not be today as we pass 140. And Bobby Deal almost done with the breaststroke already. Going on to his final turn for the freestyle. Passing the 2-minute mark in just a moment. Do you think if we dangled some chicken tenders over the starting block, Bobby would go faster?
I hope that would help.
I don't know if it's allowed in the Section 3 regulations. It's certainly more difficult when everyone's got to wear a mask, but I'm sure he'd find a way.
Absolutely.
And Deal is finished up with a 2:20, which is 4 seconds behind his best time, but once again, qualifying for Section 3. Coming up right behind him is Jamie Turo with a 2:30.28. And that's 5 seconds behind his best time, but still not a bad showing whatsoever. Coming in third place is George Theobald with a 2:41.57. Fourth place with a 2:45.59 is Luke Henderson. Fifth place is Tim Sheftick with a 2:48.21. And finishing up right now is Braden McVicker. Great name, Braden McVicker.
Yeah.
Very action hero-esque.
Yes.
His official time is a 3:08 even. More impressive showings back to back to back from JD CBA. What do you like about what you've seen so far today?
So far, it looks like everybody is doing a great job keeping the energy high, even without another team there to get that energy up, which is awesome. It's so much easier to swim fast if you've got a great team there to get you excited to swim.
And of course, it's not even like they're not competing today. You still have your teammates that you're competing against, and sometimes, you know, they say brothers fight harder than enemies.
Right, sometimes the best competition can be some friendly rivalries.
We'll see how friendly it stays as today continues.
Yes.
As the fourth event will be the 50-yard freestyle.
This is such a short event. Any mistake can make your time a whole lot slower than you would expect. But that being said, a little thing can fix your entire race and you can drop a whole lot of time really quickly.
Now the good news is out of the 6 people competing for JD's CBA, 4 of them have already qualified for the Section 3 meet. In lane 1 will be Luke Rystrom, lane 2, Lucas Holmquist, lane 3, Michael Brotslavsky, lane 4, Mark Brotslavsky, speaking of brothers fighting harder. Lane 5 will be Garrig Snyder, and lane 6, Michael DiBiase. Holmquist, both Brotslavskys, and Snyder have already qualified. And we're off for the shortest and most dynamic event of the day. Everyone thrashing about here as the first turn is completed. It looks like lanes 2, 3, and 4 are competing for it. Hey, look at that. Lucas Holmquist giving Michael Brotslavsky a run for his money. A photo finish. Brotslavsky takes the victory with a 24.63, obliterating his previous time by a whole half second. Second place, a 25.28, is Lucas Holmquist. That's a new best for him. Third place is Mark Brotslavsky with a 25.29. He beats his previous best by a tenth of a second.
Now, a half second may not seem like a big drop, but in such a short race, that is incredible.
That is everything. Now, coming in 4th place is Garrick Snyder with a 25.75. That's actually, he ties his previous record perfectly. 5th place, 27.75, is Luke Rystrom. He's just behind his previous mark. And in 6th place is Michael DiBiase with a 28.34. If you can't tell, we got everyone's bests today for the first time, and it's so exciting to be able to read it off.
Very helpful.
The research is fantastic. And of course, now comes 1 meter diving. We have 3 divers today, and it may be a little bit before the changeover for diving is completed. So why don't we take a look at the 2020 season for both JD-CBA and Syracuse City. The Red Rams had a 2020 record of 11-8-3 compared to 2-7 for the Syracuse City swim team. The Red Rams also did better in conference, but the interesting thing is they only scored, 19 more points?
Yep.
Than Syracuse City. Thank you for double-checking my math there. They set 7 school records, though, and only finished a little bit behind the Red Rams in Class A because guess what? Badir and Bilal Hamad, in addition to the Ottwater brothers, have been tearing it up. They set records in the 100 freestyle, 200 freestyle, 500 freestyle, 100-yard backstroke, 100-yard breaststroke, 100-yard butterfly, and 200 individual medley. And the thing that you got to start thinking about is how could Syracuse City have such a poor record with such incredible swimmers? Is the talent level just weighted improperly?
Now, sometimes with swimming, it's important to have a whole lot of talent on one team. So the top few swimmers do not necessarily make or break a meet. It ends up becoming how much talent you have at that second tier. So you really want to make sure you have some of those middle level swimmers who can gain a lot of those extra points that end up having you win in the end.
So perhaps JD-CBA's best advantage then is their depth.
Yes.
There's a lot of depth on this Red Ram squad, and while we have a moment, why don't we just talk quickly about some of the safety guidelines that we've put in place here to keep you and all of our swimmers here safe. Masks must stay on until you are on the starting block or in the pool. No hugs, high fives, or handshakes are allowed between teammates or competitors. Everyone's temperature must be checked at the door before they are allowed inside. And of course, it doesn't matter if you're a spectator, you can't come in here anyway. High-risk sports such as football have been moved to March. Of course, we just got the green light for basketball and hockey. That should be very exciting. Although not wrestling. Apparently that just got overturned yesterday, so we will not have wrestling. There will be no playoffs to minimize travel. And of course, we're doing this with masks on right now because it's as safe as we could possibly be. Just go to empty or score bug. Or empty, actually. No score bug for diving. So now we await the changeover to 1 meter diving. We've seen Jack Cahill and Sean Rigdon this season already. We have not seen Noah Mignonelli. This will be his first time approaching the board. Now, are you familiar with Noah?
I am not.
Okay, then I want to ask you how he's going to do. I thought it was worth checking. Of course, as we already mentioned, JD's greatest diver in history, Lucas DeCaney, not only joining us for this broadcast in the comments section, graduated last year. And of course, that's a lot of pressure for Cahill and Rigdon to have to live up to.
JD has had a ton of talent the last few years, and unfortunately, as they've graduated, they've had to try to fill in those gaps. But it looks like so far they're doing a pretty good job this season.
Rigdon and Cahill have placed first in each sectional meet so far, but then again, they were the only divers in each meet so far. So it's kind of a given that they're going to score at the very least.
Hopefully.
I have to wonder, like, when you're in a position like that, do you wish that you had better competition to test yourself against, or are you just happy that you're getting points?
I think there's benefits to each. It's definitely helpful to have the motivation that a competition brings, but sometimes it can be nice to not have any of the pressure that comes along with that.
Hey, just to know, like, I show up today and I'm going to get 6 points is probably got to feel pretty good. competition certainly helps, but it must just be nice to show up and know that you're getting 6 points without having, you still want to practice and do the best you can, but honestly, you could just kind of do a belly flop and you still get 6 points. That must feel that it must be nice not to have as much pressure.
Right, it definitely provides a sense of confidence.
We have a member of the JD swim team graduating from 1999 here in the comments, saying it's great to see the team doing so well, and Coach Bewley still in charge.
Yes, we are very glad we still have Bob as our coach this year.
That,
he
of course,
does an
coming.
excellent job creating an awesome sense of team and doing an amazing job coaching in all senses.
That, of course, coming from David Byrne, who, by the way, I believe I was you for Halloween this year. The name of the singer from the Talking Heads.
Gotcha.
You may find yourself behind the microphone in front of a very large virtual audience, and we are very happy that you are here watching along with us on JD TV, live on YouTube, exclusively right here, and for free. You're getting this for free. Bobby Deal wishes he got those chicken tenders for free.
Oh, that'd be great.
You know what? I do too. I don't know why the changeover for diving is taking so long right now. It does appear that there was just there was a conversation with the officials, perhaps going over the rules or cautioning against doing something. I don't know. It's rules. There's always tons.
I believe there's always a little spiel that the officials have to go through before they can allow diving to start. And then, of course, they have to do their warm-up, which takes a little while.
But we're going to get our first look at Minganelli right here. Decent backflip. We have our dive sheet, so we know what they're going to be doing today. It looks like Jack Cahill is going to be attempting the most difficult dives on average out of all three divers, regularly dipping into difficulty degree 2.0 or higher. Only one of those for Rigdon and none for Minganelli. Noah Minganelli, a freshman. Always great to see new talent showing up in the diving sphere. I mean, I want to get your opinion because I have to wonder, like, there must be quite a smaller number of people who show up to swim practice and think, you know what, I'd rather dive instead.
I think it is a very unique type of person who chooses to be a diver. A lot of times these people have a background being a gymnast or something similar because the skills kind of carry over. It's very similar types of skill sets, mindsets. The ability to take the risk of throwing yourself off of a diving board backwards takes a lot of, it takes a lot.
It takes chutzpah.
Yes. You have to have a very strong mindset to be able to do that. So a lot of these people are former gymnasts or someone else who has some experience there.
We learned during the modified meet earlier today that one of the modified divers actually has a background in parkour.
Yes.
Which is not something you see every day.
Right.
By the way, you're getting rave reviews in the comments today. This, of course, being Claire's commentary debut. How does it feel so far?
It is very exciting. It feels very different to be behind the mic today.
Well, we're glad that you have us with. We have you with us today.
Yes, I am happy to be here.
Good. It'd be bad if you didn't want to do this.
I know.
Can only imagine. Warm-ups should be concluding sooner rather than later.
Now, you had mentioned watching the modified meet earlier, and it's always interesting to watch some of those modified swimmers and divers and see what talent we end up having coming up to the varsity level later on. Because it is very important to make sure we are filling some of the gaps that are left behind by exiting seniors. And we do have some very strong seniors this year, and losing them is going to be a difficult gap to fill. For example, we have Nathan Chen, who is a very strong breaststroke. And so it's going to be important that next year we have some swimmers step up and fill that role.
It should be noted, though, that this is a very young team that JD CBA is currently fielded. We look at the meet against Syracuse City last year, which was on January 24th, 2020, and out of the out of the point scorers, the top 3 of them, they lost 14 of 42 swimmers who scored points in that meet. And yet, they're even stronger this year than they were last year.
Yeah, it's interesting to see just how many returning powerhouses we have.
And, you know, young talent like Nate Wales, Jamie Toro, people who are going to be around for a few years and be able to make an exceptional mark.
Yep, they're going to be very fun to watch over their next few years.
And there's certainly a few people we saw earlier on Modified who have a lot of potential as well.
Absolutely.
This is a storied program, the JD CBA swim team. Most of the story being told through Coach Bewley.
Yes.
What is this, his 37th year coaching, I believe?
I believe so.
He's been here since the 80s.
Yep.
Nothing else in this room has been here since the 80s. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know about that. We've got quite a bit of old equipment.
Come on, let's not put the program down like that.
Hey, I've heard we're going to get some new starting blocks soon. It's pretty exciting.
That'll be nice.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm pretty sure even our assistant coach was not born in the 80s.
I don't know. We'd have to ask Joe.
Coach Bewley has been coaching longer than the other coaches have been alive.
It's interesting to talk to some of these other coaches and hear how they were swimmers in high school while Bob was still a coach at JD. So they've really gone from watching him be a coach to being one of his fellow coaches.
And you have to imagine they've learned tons from it as well, as it sounds like diving is about to be underway. Thank you for sitting with us as we navigate through this break. Jack Cahill, Noah Mignonelli, and Sean Rigdon will be taking their turns. Mignonelli will be first, his first dive. A straight backwards tuck, 1.7 degree of difficulty. Good simple dive to start yourself off.
Yes, absolutely.
Your first competition, you see him shaking the water out of his ears. He's feeling good.
Yeah, look at that.
It's great to see some of the confidence, especially considering this is your first time doing this. He is a freshman. This is his first diving competition of the season.
Yeah. One of the most important things with diving is having that confidence. If you doubt when you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing, then it can mess up your entire dive.
It was just confirmed in the comments, by the way. Coach Bewley has been here since 1988 is when he first started. Sean Rigdon will be our next diver. Has 6 points on the season already. A career high of 333.55 that came during sectionals last year. Of course, you're always going to do better during sectionals. His first dive be the same as Mignonelli. Take it off. Empty. So that when you 2 6.5s from the judges, who were certainly impressed by that. Rigdon has incredible form. He has a lot of potential as well to be a standout diver for JD CBA. And coming up next will be Jack Cahill. Cahill will start with a backward somersault, finishing straight, 1.7 degree of difficulty. That was a thing of beauty. Just the height he was able to get on that was outstanding. 2 6.5s from the judges. Coming up will be Mignonelli's second dive. A backward somersault with a tuck. Degree of difficulty 1.5. Very similar to what Cahill just did, but finishing with a tuck instead of finishing straight. He got the tuck in. I don't know if he held it long enough. 2 4s from the judges. Of course, I'm sure even if you're not a diver, you have to imagine how difficult it is to hold a tuck in a position like that.
Yes, absolutely. I think even just going off the diving board is terrifying. It's much higher than it looks. And everything about diving is incredibly difficult. I have a lot of respect for the divers.
You have to wonder what kind of shape their backs are in from all the times that they must have messed up in practice, because the higher you land in the water, the more surface tension there is, and just the harder it hits.
Yeah, slapping the water definitely does not feel nice.
Next dive for Sean Rigdon is a backwards with a half twist, finishing straight, 1.8 degree of difficulty. Smooth form. 2 6s from the judges, not his highest of the day, but certainly deserving of a high score as well. You really don't see judges go above a 6.5.
Right, typically at these high school meets, the highest I think I've ever seen is a 7. That is reflective of just how much improvement these high school athletes do have to make.
Are they just harsh critics?
Sometimes, yes.
You know, like any competition, you have to imagine that there's resentment towards the judges at the end of these things, especially since scoring is usually subjective. Jack Cahill's next dive, a backwards double somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 2.0. This should be impressive. And he finishes in a straight pike as well. Beautiful. 2 7s.
Very impressive.
You were just saying the highest score you've ever seen. Well, he just got it twice. If Lucas DeCaney's still floating around in the comment section, he must be impressed. Of course, Lucas's brother Nick was our play-by-play commentator for the modified meet earlier today. And according to the scoreboard, that puts Cahill well in the lead with a 75-15 compared to a 42 for Rigdon so far and a 20.4 for Mignonelli. His third dive will be a forward somersault with a tuck, 1.4 degree of difficulty. Should just be a straight up 450 into the water. Smooth finish. You know, we were talking about the confidence we saw on him after his first dive, but he looked a little nervous up there on the board.
Yes, the nerves of the meet might be getting to him just a little bit.
Now, you're an athlete. You swim for JDCBA, obviously, on the girls' team. What do you have to do to keep yourself in the proper mindset?
A lot of it is the teammates, and JDCBA does have an awesome team bond. You can see it in the meet. You can feel it in the energy. They do get along really well, and that can be a huge motivator as well as preventing a lot of the nerves that show up pre-meet.
Rigdon's third dive out of 6 will be a backward somersault ending straight, degree of difficulty 1.7. perhaps a slight under-rotation, but a good clean dive nonetheless. 2 sixes from the judges. Of course, Sean Rigdon, also the only member of this team opting for the more revealing Speedo. Appreciate the confidence. Something to admire.
I've heard from some of the guys that they are easier to move in, so that is one of the big motivators to choosing that.
You have to imagine it's just simply less fabric.
Yeah. You will notice that the boys have matching suits finally. They get new ones every other year, or every year? I think they get them every year.
I think it's every year.
Yes.
And we've switched over to the red instead of the purple from last year.
They alternate between the two schools' colors.
Next up is Jack Cahill. Inward somersault dive with a pike, 1.5 degree of difficulty. Precariously perched on the edge of that board. It's real impressive. Simple inwards pike. Gets a round of applause. And 2 sevens once again. You know, this reminds me a lot of, well, I'm a drummer on occasion, and they always say that the drummers that get gigs are not the ones who can do blast beats and incredible fills. It's the ones who can keep a simple 4/4 rhythm the best. You don't have to do anything extremely fancy as long as you do it well.
Absolutely. Consistency is key.
Next up for Mignonelli, his 4th dive. With a 1.6 degree of difficulty, it's a forward 1.5 somersault with a tuck. There's a little bit of over-rotation, but he appeared to be composed enough. He kept his composure, but the judges give him a 4 and a 3.5 respectively. You know, I have to wonder, Mignonelli obviously shorter than the other members of this team. Does that smaller, more compact center of gravity help or hinder him?
I'm not actually sure. It seems like it would be useful, but I'm going to be honest, I don't really know.
Well, at least you're honest. Rigdon's 4th dive will be a forward 1.5 somersault with a tuck. Degree of difficulty 1.6, the same as Mignonelli. He did not want to make the same mistake as Mignonelli did, and he did not. 5.5 and a 5. It looked like he almost purposefully under-rotated about a half a rotation just to make sure that he wouldn't accidentally end up on his back like Mignonelli. So now here's Jack Cahill. His 4th dive will be his 2nd most difficult. It's an inward 1.5 somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 2.2. His 6th and final dive will be a degree of difficulty 2.3. That's the most difficult one anyone's attempting here. We'll also see Rigdon try this in this particular dive as his 6th. The imploding 1.5 somersault is a thing to behold. 2 more 7s. He is on fire today. 7 and a 6.5, excuse me. Doesn't matter, he still got another 7. He is still on fire. I have another question for you. Because I noticed with many of these divers, they're so precariously perched at the edge of the board. How do you even work out your toes?
I think it's a lot in the calves helps because when you think about it, if you're doing calf raises or an exercise like that, it is kind of those muscles. I think it really just helps them get more of a bounce, higher spring, whatever they need to get that dive higher in the air so they're able to accomplish more flips.
This will be Mignonelli's most difficult dive, his fifth. A forward somersault with a half twist, free landing. I need you to explain this stuff to me because, I mean, look at me. Do I look like I go to the gym? More than you'd think, but less than you'd hope. You know, as a freshman, just being able to complete that dive is an accomplishment in itself.
Absolutely. He has many more years to keep improving and keep really just getting even more perfect with each of his dives.
You got a 3.5 and a 4 from the judges, respectively, from that particular dive. Not the most composed, but once again, just being able to do it is really impressive. As Rigdon's now fifth dive will be an inward somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 1.6. And once again, Rigdon a sophomore too, so he's got a few years to improve. Got to be expecting big things from him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's all in his calves. Smooth entry into the water, and that's half the battle. 2 sixes from the judges. Appears to me like Rigdon will settle comfortably into second place at the end of this diving competition.
It looks like it.
Cahill's fifth dive. A forward 1.5 somersault with a pike. Degree of difficulty 1.7. If you're a gymnast, the pike is not quite landing straight out, but kind of almost trying to get your hands touching your toes if it's possible.
Yep.
I'm not that flexible, I've tried.
Oh, me neither.
I should do yoga. Now, it looked to me like Cahill was a little off balance when he was preparing for that dive. And it showed on the dive itself, and yet he still doesn't get below a 6.
It's very impressive.
He gets a 6 and a 6.5 from the judges. With a performance like this, you have to critique the little things, because if you don't, you're not going to find anything to critique.
Definitely. He has a very impressive form, and so it's those little things that are losing him those few points.
He still has far more than anyone else here so far. Mignonelli's final dive, an inward tuck, 1.4 degree of difficulty, finishing off with his second easiest. Go home on a strong note. Slight over rotation. 3 from one judge. 3.5 and a 4. I'm learning to read the judges' numbers as they're being displayed here. 3.5 and a 4, that's pretty much what he's consistently gotten all day. You were saying consistency's half the battle. Well, he's got it.
Definitely. And from there, you can focus on just keeping on improving.
Coming up now is Sean Rigdon's final dive, his most difficult of the day, the inwards 1.5 somersault with a tuck, 2.2 degree of difficulty. He looks gassed. He's only got one more to go, though. And it's pretty. Not the prettiest entry into the water, but pretty nonetheless. 2 4.5s for Rigdon, who ends on his lowest score of the day. But that's to be expected with the highest degree of difficulty. Of course, you get your scores weighted in the end. And now only one dive remaining, and it's the most difficult one attempted by anybody. Jack Cahill will do a forward double somersault with a pike, a 2.3 degree of difficulty. This is technically the 104B for the type number. Really got to start reaching into the PGA Tour voice when the dives are about to begin. If that's the most difficult thing we've seen today, he didn't make it look like it was. 6.5, 5.5, he made that look easy. A round of applause from Sean Rigdon. Jack Cahill will take it comfortably with a 183.07 is his final score. And that does it for diving. So now we head into the transition between diving and the 100-yard butterfly.
If you look over, you can see everybody getting ready for the next event.
So while we have you here, why don't we talk about what's coming up next here on JDTV. Next game tease, in-game. As for our next broadcast, as the Red Rams will take on the West Genesee Wildcats in a modified competition that'll be February 3rd at 5 p.m. Should be a fun one. And then coming up after that, the Red Rams will take on the Fulton Red Raiders on February 9th at 5 p.m. So back-to-back evening broadcasts. That'll be our next varsity meet. That should be an interesting one. How's Fulton doing this year?
From what I've seen, they've had a pretty strong season. I believe Fulton is a smaller team, so that is a little bit of a difficulty they do face. But they do have some strong swimmers to help keep up those times.
So one of our camera operators just walked off. I was very confused. And we will be right back in a little bit. The warm-ups are about to begin. We'll take a quick break here on JDTV. Thank you so very much for joining us, Sam Gelfand and Claire Huyck, bringing you this action from DeWitt, New York. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the JD Aquatic Center here in DeWitt, New York. Sam Gelfand and Claire Huyck here for JD Athletics. As the diving teardown and warm-ups have completed, we are about to get underway with the 100-yard butterfly. We'll have 5 swimmers doing this one. In lane 1, it'll be Mark Brotslavsky. Lane 2, Matt Shrivelpiece. Lane 3, Bobby Deal, our swimmer on a rampage. Lane 4, Michael Brotslavsky. And lane 5, perhaps the most dangerous swimmer, Nathan Chen.
Now, this is not Nathan Chen's event. He is usually a breaststroker, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens in this race.
Let's see if he even has an established time here on the little sheet we've got.
On the flip side of that, though, both Bobby and Michael are flyers, and both of them have seed times that are under the sectionals cut already.
Well, by the way, you say it's not his event. His best time is a 57.57, which is better than Michael Brodslavsky's by 10 seconds.
Nathan Chen is very fast in all the strokes.
He is top 100 in New York State. He can do anything he puts his mind to. And you can too at home. A little bit of wholesome content for your Saturday.
Bobby Deal has been consistently around that minute mark this season, so it'll be exciting to see if he is able to break that and get a 59 today.
By the way, once again, this is a paper meet. It is only JD CBA swimmers out there. Syracuse City is currently doing this back at their home pool in Nottingham. We do not know any of their times, and it will not be reported to us until after the broadcast is concluded. So while we're a little bit in the dark today, at least we have a good idea of how we should be doing, and I think so far we might have swept all of them.
It looks like it.
Putting up record times left and right here today, just continually improving as the season continues. Of course, there are wild cards to look out for Syracuse City. Both Hamad brothers, the Ottwaters as well, have been very impressive.
I do believe one of the Ottwaters graduated last year.
One of them did.
Yes. And losing that talent can be a struggle for a team. It can be a bit of a scramble to replace that with some of your up-and-coming swimmers.
Robin Owater is still there.
Yes, Eric has graduated.
And of course, there have been great times put up all year for Syracuse City by Shane Kisselstein and Sam Sampson, Justin Nowicki, as well as the Hamads in Owater. Last year against Syracuse City, JD CBA won the 100 butterfly by 4.7 seconds. Coming in first place is Bobby Deal with a 1:01, whose best time to beat this year is 1:23, or 1:00.23. Coming second in that event was Emmanuel Ignacio. Third was Eric Owater, who's since graduated. And there we go, off in the 100 butterfly. If those cameras keep cutting out, I swear, we had this fixed. But it's not about the cameras, it's about them.
Bobby and Nathan are fiercely competitive with each other. It's like that friendly rivalry we were talking about earlier. They want to win.
Brothers fight harder than enemies, and it is a battle right now.
Bobby is doing a great job off of his walls. He's got a really strong dolphin kick, and he's making sure not to breathe right away, which is super helpful. But if you watch, Nathan Chen is actually catching up later in the 25.
I think some lanes might have been moved around.
It's gonna be close.
Because Nathan Chen was supposed to be in lane number 5, but it looks like he's in lane number 4. But it's neck and neck heading towards the finish. Lanes 2 and 3. It is Bobby Deal who takes it. Yeah,
Bobby Deal with a time of 1:01.91. Nathan Chen with a time of 1:02.66. Michael with a time of 1:06.01. Mark with a time of 1:15.25, and in lane 5, Matt with a time of 1:17.28. Unfortunately, they switched the order up on us.
Yeah, I was about to say, thank you for deciphering that for me, because they decided to change all the lanes around.
Yes, I believe they wanted Bobby and Nathan swimming next to each other because it is very helpful to have that competitor right next to you.
Of course,
As
it's
you're
just to be able to
swimming,
look over to the
You
side.
can see them out of the corner of your eye, and you know that you have to push harder into your walls and into your finish to try to get that edge.
No, I have another question for you. By the way, here's Nathan Shen's new puppy.
Oh, adorable.
Absolutely adorable. That
Name
is
Winter.
Winter the Samoyed. I love Samoyeds.
So cute.
Absolutely adorable. Let's just keep it up for a little bit.
Yes, we can all enjoy.
Yeah, just take it in. Soak in the vibes. And you have to imagine this is going to motivate Nate as well, because he's going to want to do well for his puppy.
Absolutely.
So Winter can be proud of him when he returns home. Can we get her here, or him here?
I hope
Winter?
so.
I don't know if dogs are allowed at the pool.
I'm not sure.
I think we can make an exception.
I agree.
So we move into the 100-yard freestyle. Lane 1, Luke Henderson. Lane 2, Lucas Holmquist. Lane 3, Luke Marino. Lane 4, Garrick Snyder. Lane 5, Michael DiBiase. So 3 Lukes are in this competition now. Doing this a couple times here and back. Taking an early lead is Luke Marino, who does have the quickest time out of anyone in this pool with a 56.58. Holmquist, Marino, and Snyder have all qualified for the sectional meet in the 100 free. 30 seconds now, and they're on their third of 4 legs. Luke Marino developing a decent lead, first to turn by a good bit. He's got a whole length on Garrick Snyder, who has a half a length on Holmquist. In first place will go
55.17 for Luke Marino. That is a personal best.
By far.
Almost by over a second.
His previous
That's
time.
An awesome drop.
Yeah, his previous time 56.58. He scores a 55.17 here.
Also,
excellent.
With a drop in lane 4, Garrick, he dropped about 2/10.
About 0.15 seconds, he's down to a 57.14. Previous best, a 57.34.
In lane 1, Luke Holmquist dropped a second as well. Oh, that is a lot of really great swims from the boys in this event.
A great 100-yard freestyle all around. That's going to be hard to beat. We'd like to take this moment to remind you that today's meet is brought to you by the Jamesville DeWitt Rampage. The Rampage is a fully online student-run newspaper which covers news, sports, culture, and everything in between. Even the current state of world affairs can't prevent the Rampage from bringing you the Jamesville DeWitt news and stories you care about. So stay up to date on all things JD. Make sure to check out jdrampage.org. That's www.jdrampage.org. Tyler Aitken, who is a member of this JD TV crew, the sports editor for the Rampage. He does a great job. And coming up now is the longest race of the day, the 500-yard freestyle. As always, when it comes to these longer races, Nate Wales is going to be the man to watch.
Yes, he has some incredible endurance, and the distance events are where he shines.
He absolutely obliterated the Section 3 time last time out by 45 seconds. You need a 6:99 to qualify for the Section 3 Class A meet. His best time, which he got against CNS, was 5:16.23. And it says a lot about these distance races when the gap between the New York State meet time and the Section 3 Class A time is more than a minute.
Right, it's very impressive how much time you can drop by fixing something small in a race like this. For example, if you fix how your flip turn works, or if you breathe less, that can be seconds of dropping time because there's just so much race.
But at the same time, it also means that, like, those little mistakes can add up as well.
Absolutely.
So you have to be good for a consistently long time.
And that is part of what Nate does really well, is he manages to really gut it out and swim the whole race well.
Lane 2 is Braden McVicker, lane 3 Nate Wales, lane 4 Lucian Zenz, and lane 5 Drew Babkian. And we are off to the races, and Nate Wales immediately establishing a full length lead. It is so impressive what he is able to accomplish. Also impressive, that Panama hat there in lane 3.
Yes.
Lucian Zenz is the only other person besides Nate Wales who has a previous time in the 500-yard free. He set a 6:13.33.
The sectionals cut is within sights for him, so we'll have to watch and see if he is able to accomplish that today.
Yeah, it's right there. Or in this case, the chicken tender dangling right over him. And it looks like Braden McVicker is already struggling for breath a little bit, which doesn't bode well for the rest of this race. But we mentioned competing against your teammates a little bit earlier today. I wonder, with the freestyle, obviously you're turning your head every time you have to breathe. Do you ever make eye contact with the person in the lane next to you?
It isn't quite eye contact, but as you breathe, you can absolutely see who is on either side of you, and that is very helpful. If you look right now, though, with this race, you don't have a lot of competition right next to you. Everyone is in kind of their own spot. And that is kind of difficult because you don't have that person to watch and to keep pace with. And with longer events like this, you do need to make sure you are holding pace. That is part of what the counters are doing, is they are helping their swimmer keep pace. They will shake the board up and down if they are going too slow, as sort of a suggestion to move a little faster.
Well, it's so hard to manage stamina and speed in a race like this.
Yeah. It takes a lot of practice to manage to swim a race like this as fast as you can.
Are you a distance swimmer, or do you prefer the sprints?
Not. I think that distance is one of the more difficult events. It's very exhausting.
It's kind of implied in the name.
Definitely.
And you know, the last time we saw Nate Wales here against CNS, the one thing we marveled the most about is just there's something so smooth about the way he swims. He splashes less than everyone else, and it's just like he's generating less friction against the water.
If you look and you watch, as Nate breathes, you can barely even tell the difference in his stroke. There are some swimmers who, when they breathe, it disrupts their entire pull, and it ends up kind of sinking them down in the water and creates a lot of resistance. But Nate does not have that. He's able to keep moving directly forward.
It's beautiful to watch, honestly. It's watching an athlete in peak form. It's one of those things you just got to look at and appreciate, kind of like, you know, Ken Griffey Jr.'s swing. As we are well past the 3-minute mark, so about halfway home for some of these swimmers. Notably, Bobby Deal and Luke Marino have also put up extremely impressive times in the 500 free. Both of them overall would have qualified for Section 3 Class A this year, although I don't believe they've swum it.
Now, something noticeable is a lot of these swimmers who are really talented when it comes to the distance events are also year-round swimmers. It's a lot easier to accomplish some of these more endurance-based events if you are in excellent shape from swimming year-round.
Of course, Nate Wales, like many members of this JDCBA squad, member of the Syracuse Chargers, who swim at Lemoyne College, I believe?
Right now they're at Cass College. Luckily, the Cazenovia College has opened up their pool to both the Syracuse Chargers and FM's varsity team. So varsity at FM has been able to continue because FM does not have a pool. Here at JD, we are lucky enough to have our own pool. which is super helpful, especially in years like this one where everything is just so difficult to accomplish.
It really is a blessing that
Nate
JD
is
CBA has their own pool.
heading into his final 50.
He's in his final 50 already.
It is. Comes up fast.
Yeah, blink of an eye and you miss it. Never thought I'd say that for a distance event. But Nate Wales is the only man here who can make that possible.
Definitely.
As he's halfway down the pool, he's got 5:05. Might he be able to break his previous time? It's going to come down to the wire. 5:16.23 to beat. 5:15.12.
He does. He drops another second off of an already very fast time.
A whole second underneath a blazing speed already. Do you think that by the end of this season, we might be talking about states?
I think it is absolutely a possibility. If he focuses his energy in the right direction, I think he can accomplish pretty much anything he sets his mind to. If we look, Lucien is now on his final 50 as well.
Thank you for keeping track of that. I'm too busy looking down at trying to figure out, if Wales could make states. Which it is entirely possible. And maybe the scarier thing is that he's only a sophomore.
I know, he has a lot of time to keep on growing and improving his stroke and really just getting a lot of speed.
And that's the thing about high school athletics is you consistently improve every single year, unlike other levels, just because of you're growing, your body changes, and you're almost guaranteed to do better as a junior or a senior than you are a sophomore, which it's almost scary to think, what can Nate Wales accomplish?
Definitely.
But in the meantime, coming in second place was Lucien Zen to the 6:07.49. He beats his previous time by about 5 seconds.
Drew is on his final stretch here, and Braden is heading into his final 50.
Both of their times should come around 7 minutes or so. At the end of this event, change it.
Drew with a time of 6:07.49. And Braden with a very strong finish here goes a time of 7:14.65.
And 7:03.10 will be Drew Babkian. And you see Nate Wales all smiles as his teammates finally finish up. There's a lot to smile about if you're in that pool, being able to tough out an event like that.
Definitely. It must be a huge sense of relief to have that event finished.
Turn the camera off. Coming up next, after the 500 free, is event number 9 of 12. We head to the 200-yard freestyle relay, and, well, the bleachers are empty behind us.
That's right. Almost every boy on this team is swimming in this relay event because we have all 6 lanes to use for relays. That is a total of 24 swimmers.
Which also means that this meet has been kind of blazing by because we don't need multiple heats.
That's right.
1-1 for everything. So in lane 1 will be Luke Henderson, Christian Fuller, Sean Rigdon, and Michael Berger. as I was trying to say, Michael Berger finishing up the 4th in lane 1. Jacob Price, Matt Radford, Matt Sullivan, and Liam Wasserman in lane 2. Lane 3, Luke Rystrom, Nathan Shen, Michael Brotslavsky, and Nate Wales. Lane 4, Lucas Holmquist, Emmanuel Ignacio, Michael DiBiase, and Garrick Snyder. Lane 5, Luke Marino, Will and Iraq Chief, Braden McVicker, and Lucian Zenz. Lane 6, Matt Trivelpiece, Kyler Huyck, Tim Sheftick, and Noah Mignonelli. And so far, Lucas Holmquist carving out a sizable lead, first to change over. His split time's better by a 1.5 seconds than his closest competitor in lane 3. There's so much going on in the free relay at all times.
That's right. It's a very quick race with lots of very fast turnovers.
As lane 3 makes their first turnover, or their next turnover, excuse me. I have to imagine Nate Shen's going to make up a lot of time. We are past the minute mark. The best time comes from lane 3, a 1:41.64 collectively, and lane 4, a 1:47.42 historically. Lane 3 has already finished with a 1:39.82, taking 2 seconds off of their previous best. Of course, there's no qualifiers for the relays for Section 3 Class A, but you have to imagine if there were, that would have made it. Second place is lane 4 with a 1:47.17. Third place, lane 2 with a 1:58.51. Fourth place, lane 5 with a 1:59.27. Fifth place, lane 6 with a 2:02.43, and sixth place is lane 1 with a 2:06.42. Good showings all around as we now head to the 100-yard backstroke. This is your event, I believe. So I'm sure you're going to be incredibly critical of this.
It's always fun to watch events that I swim because I get to watch some of the things that I know are difficult and really appreciate just how much effort it takes to swim. If we look, the boys who are swimming, a lot of them did just get out of the relay, so that is a pretty difficult turnaround.
And of course, there are 37 swimmers on JDCBA compared to just 18 for Syracuse City, and you have to imagine, well, it allows us to have 6 relays like that, but it also, we were talking about depth earlier and how much it plays into this. Although we could say 38 swimmers if we include Winter. Can we put the dog back up on the screen, please? As we get ready for the 100-yard backstroke. There we are.
Oh, I think Winter can be our honorary team member.
Absolutely. Our Winter will be our Red Ram. So competing in the 100-yard backstroke, lane 1, Malcolm Britz. Lane 2, Sam Kim. Lane 3, Jamie Turo. Lane 4, Kyler Huyck. Lane 5, Sam Keener. And lane 6, Seamus Endries. Only Turo and Huyck have times in the backstroke. Also, I just realized, so your brother qualified for Section 3 Class A already, and you're faster than him.
Yes, I am. I did make sectionals last year, which is pretty exciting.
We have a bona fide expert next to us. What are you liking about what you see so far?
Right now, I love how quickly their arm turnover is. Also, if you look at Jamie's kick, it's a very strong kick, which is super helpful in this event because backstroke is a lot about the legs. If you also watch off the walls, it's important to make sure you're getting a good streamline, of course.
And we were talking about how much potential Nate Wales has. Jamie Turo's a freshman.
Yes, it's very impressive to watch how much he is able to accomplish just as a freshman.
And he's gunning for his best time, which is a 1:02.07. Pike's best time, a 1:07.68.
His kick, his feet are actually coming out of the water. He has a very powerful kick. And with that, he goes a time of 1:02.92.
Just barely missing his best time by a little under a second.
Kyler with a time of 1:10.12.
You'll make fun of him for that later.
Yep.
Third, it will be Malcolm Britz with a 1:15.24. That's his first time doing the backstroke. And perhaps he's got a future in it.
Now, unfortunately, in lane 6, Seamus did turn over onto his stomach, which is a DQ.
Seamus Hendry is disqualified.
Regardless, his time was a 1:27.56. In lane
5 gets 5th
2
place.
Oh, go ahead.
Lane 5 gets 5th place, a 1:31.09 goes to Sam Keener. And lane 2 finishes 6th, that's Sam Kim, with a 1:32.67, which nothing to sneeze at when it's your first time ever swimming this.
Definitely.
Still thinking about winter.
I know, me too. Do you have a dog, Sam?
Back in Florida, yes, I do have a dog.
I'm so jealous. I really want a dog.
I miss my dog very much. It's been a long time since I've gotten to see her because I've been up in Syracuse here. But her name is Daisy. She is a Cavapoo. She's part King Charles Cavalier, part Toy Poodle.
Nice.
And she enjoys swimming. One time she thought an alligator was a friend and jumped into a lake after one.
Oh no.
And guess who had to jump in to get her out? It's adorable. She tries to play with like little geckos and stuff. She thinks that they're all friends. Can you tell that I'm from Florida when I'm talking about alligators and geckos interacting with my dog?
Then we look out the window and we see all of our Syracuse snow.
Which, by the way, 2 years ago to the day, today, it was negative 23 degrees here with wind chill.
Jeez.
And today we have a low of a frosty 0 degrees Fahrenheit, without factoring in the wind chill.
Gotta love upstate New York.
Gotta love it here. 100-yard breaststroke coming up. Section 3 time is 1:17.99. Lane 1, Jacob Price. Lane 2, Willin Arakchev. Lane 3, Nathan Chen. Lane 4, Matt Sullivan. Lane 5, Christian Fuller. And lane 6, Matt Radford. Nate Chen's best time is a 1:10.51. This is his best event, arguably.
Definitely.
The penultimate event is underway, only one more after this. And we do appreciate you sticking with us this whole time. This paper meet has really been a lot more exciting than one might think.
Yeah, I think one of the big things with swimming is finding the spirit of the race within yourself. And the
that's
JD
deep.
CBA swimmers have done a great job doing that today.
We've gone on a journey of self-discovery here. Mostly 25 yards at a time.
Yes.
It's still a journey if you're going forwards and backwards, and Nathan Chen is only advancing forwards towards victory.
Now, if we look at the times, it says Matthew's time is a 1:37, whereas Nathan's is a 1:10. The fact that he's able to stay this close to Nathan is very good.
Yeah, it's a testament to Matt Sullivan that he's only a lane or two behind. And you hear the rest of the team calling out, attempting to help their teammates find their rhythm.
That's right. This team has a great energy.
1:11.90 for Nate Chen, close to his best time.
Matthew goes a 1:15.71. That is a sectionals cut.
And he absolutely destroys his previous record of 1:37.46 by I'm trying to do the quick math. That's like 20 seconds or so.
Willing goes a time
22
of
seconds.
1:23.10. Jacob with a time of 1:38.10. And Matthew with a time of 1:35.93. Christian with a time of 1:37.21.
Great showings from everyone here at JD CBA, especially Matt Sullivan, who just did phenomenally.
Yeah, that was an awesome race.
I got to give shout-outs to him as we now head towards the 12th and final event of the day, the 400-yard freestyle relay. You can take a look at the school records between these two teams here. 3:15.55 is the school record set in 2015 for JDCBA, 3:35.34 for Syracuse City 2 years ago. The best squad for JDCBA has a 3:53.02, so they're 45 seconds away from hitting that record, but that doesn't mean that it's any slower than you might think. You know, records are records. It's a nearly impossibly high standard for a reason. So as the bench is empty once again, let's count down who it's going to be. In lane 1, it's Matt Trivelpiece, Seamus Endries, Liam Wasserman, and Luke Rystrom. Lane 2, Bobby Deal, Tim Sheftick, Braden McVicker, and Emmanuel Ignacio. Lane 3, Nate Wales, Luke Marino, Luke Holmquist, and Lucian Zenz. Lane 5, Mark Brodslavsky, Matt Radford. There was a Matt Bradford on the basketball team last year, and now we have a Matt Radford. Just pointing out, it's confusing. Luke Henderson and Kyler Huyck. Lane 5, George Theobald, Malcolm Britz, Drew Babkian, and Sam Keener. And in lane 6, Matt Sullivan, Michael Berger, Noah Mignonelli, and Jacob Price. We do hope you've enjoyed this telecast of JDTV here live and free on YouTube. Once again, my name is Sam Gelfand, joined by Claire Huyck, bringing you the action here in DeWitt, New York. And what action it's been. Now, if there's anything that you've seen, how would you sum up your takeaways from this meet so far?
So far, it looks like the boys' season is going very well. They're holding consistent with a lot of their best times, or at the very least coming close, and we've also seen some personal bests, which halfway through the season is really good because the training schedule does not usually plan for hitting those best times until the end.
So if you're already hitting personal bests now, then
That's
for the
right.
rest, bodes well for the rest of the year.
If you were to try to taper that time down, you hit even more personal bests, which is a good sign for the team.
Certainly a good sign and a good start as lanes 2 and 3 pretty close to each other. That's Deal and Wales, who we were saying are competing so closely against each other. But it looks like Wales is going to pull ahead and hit the first changeover. Or not yet. No, wait, they keep going because it's the 400 free.
It looks like in lane 4, Mark's goggles have fallen off, but he is still doing a good job keeping going. He still has a strong stroke nonetheless.
How much harder is it when your goggles fall off?
It's so much harder. Usually you can barely see. If you watch his turns, he's doing a great job still hitting the walls. That is one of the most difficult parts of your goggles falling off, is trying to find those walls.
Have you ever hit the wall head on when your goggles fell off?
Yes, I have heard of people who have gotten concussions from that. It is scary stuff.
Now, there's nothing to joke about concussions. We do our best to prevent it here, just like we do our best to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Yes.
And hey, we made it through the entire fall season without a single infection on any athletic team, which is great.
I believe so.
I know that for a fact, actually. It was awesome. It proves that the safety measures work, folks, and that's why they're willing to let us go into high-risk sports for the winter like basketball and hockey, because we have the track record of being able to do it properly. Minute and a half now. And lane 3 still has a comfortable lead. There's another changeover. I believe that's Lucas Holmquist coming into the water. Two minutes have passed now. We're about halfway home. And by home, I mean home. I have been here since 7:30. Two and a half minutes now. Is the freestyle more satisfying to swim than other strokes because you get more speed?
It definitely is, because it's one of the few strokes that you can put in a little less effort and still go really fast. That being said, you absolutely should put in more effort.
No one's putting any less effort for anything here.
That is so true. But it definitely is an easier stroke, so which is why a lot of people prefer to swim freestyle to the other strokes. But it is important to be a well-rounded swimmer and have that second stroke that you can excel at, because every team needs those swimmers to get those points and swim those fast times.
Lane 3, first to get to swimmer number 4, that's Lucian Zenz, who's already completed his first leg. I believe lane 4 is coming in second. Kind of hard to tell at this point, honestly. And I'm sleep deprived. I'm not hiding it anymore.
It looks like lane 3 is on their final 25.
Lane 3 gunning for the 4-minute mark. And they hit it 3:59.32. They're 6 seconds off of their best time ever, but hey, within 4 minutes in the 400 freestyle relay is very impressive. Because, yeah, you know, you can do 100 freestyle in less than a minute, but you need to have the perfect changeovers and that excellent chemistry with your teammates. There's so much that can go wrong, and coming in second is lane number 4 with a 4:22.39. That's the team of Wrocławski, Radford, Henderson, and Huyck. Lane 6 still going. Coming in third is lane 6 with a, well, actually they're still going. They hit the timer accidentally. So lane 5 has a 4:50.79. Lane 1?
2's timer did not work, but they were close behind lane 4, so they were a little slower than a 4:22.
And lane 1 had a 4:51.87. As lane 6 currently finishing up, and as soon as Jacob Price hits the wall, we're out of here.
And lane 6 with a time of 5:25.40.
And there we are. That is the end of the meet. The lose graphic just says, thank you for watching. Let's go to that one and close. Even though no winners are able to today, we have a fairly good idea, and hopes are high for JD CBA. We'll just run with it. I'll just... There we go. We thank you for watching along with us today. Joining us for this paper meet against Syracuse City. Hopefully JD CBA pulls this one out, but it could be anyone's game. There's only one way to find out, and we're going to find out in about an hour or two. So on behalf of everyone here at JD TV, my name is Sam Gelfand, alongside
This was Claire Huyck.
Alongside Claire
Thank
Huyck.
you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a very good rest of your day, wherever you may be.